Again with 100 Days, 100 Emotions. Today we're on day 24 and we're talking about the emotion of defeat, something we have all experienced. And hopefully, after our conversation today, you will learn that it can be a good thing, that we can learn from it, and that we can use it for good in our lives. I have enjoyed doing this. This has been so much fun. I've been able to meet so many people and have chats and learn about other people's lives through sharing their stories. So if you would like to be involved, please reach out to me, either send me a message or comment on one of the episodes, and I will get you plugged in. I have room for more. And so I would love to get you plugged in to talk about a specific emotion. Okay, today I'm so excited for you to meet my guest today. I'm just going to go ahead and pop him up here before I start talking about him. Alan, thank you so much for
Oh,
being here.
thank you for inviting me. Really appreciate it.
Of course, Alan and I have chatted, and he and his partner and I have chatted a few times, and we have so much in common. Like we could just talk forever. But Alan has a lot going on. He's a busy guy, but he's impacting so many lives, and I'm so excited to hear from you today, Alan, because I know that you're going to impact lives through this as well. And so, again, thank you for choosing to spend your time with us today. I'm so thankful that you're here.
I think, like I said, thank you, Amy. I was like, as I said, when we had that first conversation about your story, and it still amazes me from where you've come from to where you are today. So yes, no, definitely. I think the credit goes to you on that one.
Oh, well, thank you so much. All right, so I'd like to pop up some text before we start here, just to kind of give us a springboard and for those people who need a text to read. And so I think I will start with, I have a couple of them today. I like to point out like how the emotions feel in our bodies, but I also like to talk about how we can learn from them. And so this one is really in depth. So I've got a couple today. The first one says that defeat can evoke feelings of powerlessness and disappointment, often arising when our efforts don't yield the desired results or when faced with insurmountable odds. Like I have definitely been there, felt
Yeah.
powerless, disappointed, just so far defeated that I just didn't know if I could come out of it.
Mhm.
And I'm sure that you have experienced that too, Alan.
Oh no, 100%. When I was ill last year myself, I think I was ill for about 6 months, and at the beginning of the illness, it was I had problems like with my vision. I was my balance, and I was just not myself. It was like I was looking for a third person. Everything seemed strange to me and different. And I started on the journey as in thinking, oh, it'll go in a couple of weeks, I'll be fine. But then come the third and fourth week, I'm now thinking about, oh, it's nothing's changing, nothing's changing. And then what happens in the sense of doing this is that I'm thinking, okay, fifth and sixth week, and then still not enough changing. And what's happening in this point? It's escalating my emotion. That, to your point, I'm starting to feel defeated by the illnesses that's coming on me, the mental. So I've got the physical point, and then I've got the mental point, and obviously that's exacerbating the physical point. So you're going around this vicious circle where, to the point, I just couldn't do nothing that I used to do. It was just completely, everything was completely foreign and strange. So that definitely promoted defeat in my head for sure. I just felt I was at that point, yeah, powerless, worthless. Nothing I could do. And I was being always been told by the physicians, it's time. But trying to keep yourself positive, trying to keep yourself motivated when this is happening, very difficult at that point.
Ah, yes. I mean, I relate to that so much because you know my story. I went through not the same thing, but I have experienced those feelings of I couldn't do anything I could do
Yeah.
before. Like literally, I was unable, I was incapacitated and couldn't do anything I was able to do before. So I totally understand that. And it can send you down into a deep, dark place. Um,
Exactly that. I think when it's it's trying to be positive, but trying to keep a positive mindset, thinking, yes, okay, what's around the corner, right? A lot of people said today, tomorrow will be a different day, right? And you do all those like cliches, and you try and look through it, and like as you go on. But when you're not seeing no improvement, right? When you're not seeing no progress, it's natural to feel defeated, right? It's natural to be defeated that way. So we shouldn't be, and I think sometimes the more we fight, against something where you just need to let it be, right? To let
Mhm.
it take its course, yeah, it actually slows your progress of getting better. For me, that is like, I know that's not for everyone, because I know obviously everyone has different conditions, and but when I was going through what I was going through, it was like I was in a rush to get better. I was in a rush to get wanting to move on, wanting to do stuff, and but my body was saying, like my brain was saying no, like just that's it, no. But then obviously I was fighting that, didn't want to feel defeated, right, in this concept. So I'm having a fight with my inner self, to try and get and do what I'm normal doing, but the body and brain was just saying no. So yeah.
Yeah, it's so, so true, because it's like the body just needs the time to heal.
Mm.
Like, obviously, you and I both, we're here now, we're standing upright, we're doing things. And so we were able to get past that, but it did take time, and fighting against it almost adds extra stress to the body that makes things worse. And so I totally understand what you're saying there about just allowing things to happen. And it eventually will work itself out the way it's supposed to.
I don't know about you, Amy, but I still have glimpses now where I think back, and little things like I walk to the shop and I walk over there, and I can see things now crystal clear again. I can actually walk and not feel like my legs are a part of me again when they felt like jelly and I could barely walk, right? And then I know it sounds funny, but the elation of doing that simple thing, sometimes it throws that back from the difference to where I was to where I am now, right? That's a massive, like, and it draws you back and thinking again, that simple thing is a massive thing. Again, when it's taken away from you, it becomes absolutely a massive thing. When you I still get it, and like anything, it makes you appreciate it more, right?
Oh, absolutely. I think, people ask me now, how are you able to do so much? And
Mm,
I keep saying it. I think it's because it was taken away from me
yeah,
for such a time. Like, I
yeah.
couldn't do anything for so long. Now that I can do things, I'm like,
Mm.
I'm doing them all. I'm just going to do it all because I can, you
That's right.
know? Yeah.
uh, for sure.
So it reminds me, it's a good segue into our next bit of text here. And this is that recognizing defeat doesn't mean accepting it as our permanent state, which is
Mm,
exactly what you talked about, that it's allowing it to just, it will pass.
yeah.
It can be a stepping stone to resilience, that it can serve as a powerful motivator, driving you to set new goals, work harder, and persevere. And that's what I've seen you and I both do.
Like it works across the board, right? As in health, as in work, as in life, as in sports, right? It literally works across the board. Is There's a lot of that at that point in time, again, you do feel deflated, right? You do feel, and I think is myself is a bit of imposter syndrome, right? Just not good enough. Am I pretending to be someone I'm not, like, because I've not achieved what I think I should achieve, right? And maybe I'm setting the goals way unrealistically to expectations that I can actually meet. But yet, to the point of defeat, I can then learn, right? Of the stuff that then I've learned. I'm an avid golfer, right? But not as much playing. I hit the range. I go to the range most days, so it's constantly like, again, putting that boundary high. But every time I swing and learn, right, I'm learning something from the point of what mistakes I'm making. So and that's took me years now to develop that skill from, again, not getting it right, not getting right, and then coming away from that sometimes feeling completely defeated and thinking I'm rubbish, right? but now, but now I'm not too bad, right? Still have rubbish days, but again, it does become, you can use it as a motivator. Like, I know, again, storming off that range, coming back, looking on YouTube and looking at thinking, right, what am I doing wrong? What am I doing wrong? Why is it not that sort of thing, right? Then don't let it defeat me to want to keep on improving and getting better. But in the same sense, just to add to that, like, I think defeat, even though being used as a good motivator, there's another point. Don't aim beyond your abilities as well a little bit, right? Because I would say that was part of the reason what made me ill. If I'm being truthfully honest, I was doing far too much than I could actually do, working too many hours, trying to do absolutely everything, and in essence drive yourself into the ground. So like, like, definitely smaller chunks over a longer period of time is probably better than big chunks over over a shorter period of time. I think that's definitely any advice I would give.
Yes, that's such good advice. It reminds me of, and this may seem petty to some people, but when I was in 8th grade, I don't know what you call it over in the UK, but
How old were you? Eighth grade?
I was probably 14,
So
13 or
that would
14.
be for us would be year probably 9, 10. So no, year 9, 10 is
Okay.
yep,
Okay.
yep.
So when I was that age, I tried out for cheerleading, and I worked so hard and practiced so long, and went to tryouts, and I did not make it. And I felt so defeated because I
Mm.
worked so hard and tried so hard, and I wallowed in that. Oops, somebody's calling me. Okay, am I still here? Yeah.
You're still here.
Okay. I
Yeah.
um I didn't make it, and I was so sad, and I wallowed in that. Like, it's almost like I had to allow myself to wallow in that. And then I got to the point where I was like, you know what? Next year I'm going to be the one. Like, I'm going to be the one to beat. And so I flipped it around and totally, like, over the summer, worked so hard
Mm.
and tried out the next year and actually got the highest score. I beat all the people in high school, and everyone, because it was like it motivated me to the
Sure.
point that we were talking about, that it became a motivator. But I feel like I had to wallow in it first. And I think that's okay for us to be able to say, I feel defeated. Let me feel that, and then use it as a stepping stone.
It's amazing when you look at again. Obviously, you call it soccer, obviously football over here, and you look at teams in general. That when teams have to go through the process of cup competitions, they a lot of them have to experience the defeat in the final or the semi-final, and a lot of them then actually go on to achieve the final, actually win that the following years, because they've had that experience of being there. They've been the ones seeing the others victorious, right? And to your point, it creates a fire, right? Because you're hurt,
Yeah.
right? It creates a fire because you're hurt and you're thinking, I'm not going to be in that same situation again next time. And that's the biggest thing about defeat. Yes, it is a negative emotion, right? Yes, it does hurt, right? It does hurt. And to your point, you do wallow, right? You do wallow. You question. You question yourself. You question your own abilities. Everything. It goes through you, spins through your head. And then obviously time goes on, and obviously you start thinking less of that specific defeat that you had, but there's still a part that remembers next time you go to do that activity, right? To remember that what happened. And that's what I suppose being human is, having one of the best abilities to do is learn from that mistake, right? Obviously we make other mistakes, but not repeating the same one before. Right?
Right. Yes, and I almost feel like people who really achieve a lot or who do well
Mm,
have to go through that defeat process to be able to get to that higher level of whatever it is.
yeah.
So I feel like it's part of it.
I think it's a part of most journeys. A lot of people, a lot of
Yeah.
successful journeys, and like it doesn't have to be like in anything that's even working on a professional level, even as an amateur or an intermediate level, right? Yeah. Again, going back to working to your ability, it's still the same process, right? Like obviously everyone has different levels, but it's still the same processes that a professional would go through as a novice would go through. You still fall hurt and go through the same cycles. So again, that the ability thing shouldn't really play a factor in it. The feet will feel feel exactly the same no matter where you are on that scale.
That's such a good point. It's such a good point.
Yeah,
Yes, no matter where you are or who you are, it feels the way it feels.
exactly. Yeah,
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 yeah. Oh, and that's a good point. That's a good segue into the question for today. I would like for those of you watching, to join in our conversation and let us know. This is the question: are you discouraged or motivated by defeat? When you feel defeat, does it, for the most part, does it discourage you or does it motivate you? And we just talked about how it can do both,
mm,
but I would like to know your input, for those of you watching, how you feel about that. And Alan and I already talked about that, but let me move on to, if you have watched these before, you know what's coming next. If you haven't watched these before, I have an AI image generator that I use each week to ask it to create an image that represents the emotion of the day. And so I ask it to create an image that represents defeat. And this is what it gave me. I'm going to pop it on the screen and then I'll full screen it and we will take a look at this.
wow.
Now, obviously, looking at this, yes, you can tell he's in the wallowing or in the initial stages of defeat. Like, everything is It's like falling down around him, those jagged things coming at him. It almost looks painful, which it is. The
Mm-hmm.
feeling of defeat can be painful.
Yeah.
Um, but at the also there's that huge sun on the other side that's the focus of the picture, which means there is light there. There can be light there too. Is there anything else that
I
jumps
think,
out at you, Alan?
I think going back to what I said, I think the fire, do you know what I said about the firing up? I think when I'm looking at, I think it's that beginning spark of that fire. You're going, obviously the first part really hurts, right? But then you do get, after that is a bit of anger with it, right? Comes with it, right? And obviously the defeat there, and that's what actually fires you to think, right? And looking at my sort of like valuation of that, I can see again the sun, the burning, but then the spark that creates the fire to say, right, like it'd be interesting to see the parallel of that, right, the parallel of that AI image, right? To see, obviously this is the first question probably of that, and then the first part of our questions, the second part of that question should be interesting to see what that portrayed on that, because I suppose it would be this image burned in your head, but then looking at the next goal of what you wanted to achieve and why you wanted to achieve it.
Oh, that's such an interesting. I never thought about that. That, taking the parallel of it. Ooh, that's a great idea. I might have to start doing that. Like, Alan's giving me a great idea over here now to see the opposite. Oh, that's such a great idea. All right, my wheels are spinning. I need to come back here. Okay. So before we hop off here, Alan, I tell you, I have told you this before, but I want to say for all the viewers, Alan does, he's in charge of the Disability Expo over in the UK. And what you do, Alan, is just amazing. As a person who lives with a disability, I'm just amazed at the work you and your team do. And I've told you before, I want to have that in the States. Like, I want you to bring that over here.
Yeah,
And so please
we
tell them all about what you do.
yeah, sure. So the Disability Expo, the company that runs Disability Expo is called Maidtrade. It was initially a search engine. By trade, I'm a software engineer, and I created a search engine that allowed people with disabilities to find suitable equipment based on presentation and condition. And then it evolved into actually doing exhibitions. One of them was called Rise of Disability, and this one in London, Excel, is our biggest, probably. Well, it is international because we've invited people obviously from Europe and they come from the States as well. But it's the biggest service led. And what I mean by that is it's run by the disability community for the disability community. So our team are people full of lived experience. We've all got disability or disability adjacent, or people know people with disabilities, live or carers. And our main aim and focus is really empowering people to find their own solutions, because I think there's sometimes not enough choice within disability. Is that we are told what we should have, we are told what to think, we are told what job we're capable of doing, and it's empowering that choice to people find their own solutions, and that's by products, it's by services, it's by absolutely anything, opportunity for jobs. It just gives them more choice ultimately. And so we've got a lot of next year in July that the show comes back. It's 3 times as big as what it was this year.
Really?
So yeah, so there's a
Wow.
lot going on. But the reason for that is disability covers life, right? It is life. And it's the same thing. And I keep them, my mantras, I keep them repeating to everyone, is that um, disability affects everyone, right? It's not any point at any time in our life, anything can happen to us. And it's only community where anyone from any background could come into that community. There's no barriers. It literally is anyone can into that community because of your age related stuff, or you get an illness, or you get an accident, whatever it may be. And I just feel, for me personally, obviously I've got an autoimmune condition, and obviously I've had illnesses as well. It's when the sort of like my wheels, all my world stopped. What I found is that there wasn't nowhere to turn to. Like, where did you go? What did you do? Like at that point in there, and I just want to provide something where there's a level of service that people think, okay, I've got a bit of support. I've got support. I need more support, and that's the idea really of Expo. Really, again, it all comes from lived experience. Lived experience is the most important part because your experience, Amy, my experience, and someone else's experience is very different of disability. So I can't say, oh, what you think, what you feel, and collectively, hopefully, we can get to a standard or a consensus moving forward.
This, I tell you, as a person who lives with a disability, there's a stigma around
Yes.
us that we're not as good, we don't have
Yes.
as much to offer, we're not as valuable. And people like you are breaking that stigma. That's one of my missions too, is to break that
Yeah, I agree.
stigma.
And
But
that's yeah, sorry, Amy, that's why we're aligned, right? And a lot of other people are saying we're aligned is there is a massive stigma, and that's funnily enough, that's one of the things in the 5-year plan. So like literally, we're not going to change the whole stigma. There's always going to be a stigma around disability, but the biggest thing is stop seeing us as liabilities and start seeing us as assets, right? And that's
I love that.
yeah, it definitely, I think, because people see us as liabilities or on benefits over here, and just need to see us more of contribute. Because one part of me doesn't work correctly doesn't mean the rest of me doesn't. Like that's the sort of thing.
Yes. Oh, so true. And there's such a sense of isolation that comes with it. And so what you're doing is helping us find a community. Like
Yes.
we have people who can relate and understand what we're dealing with, and the same stigma.
Yeah.
And it's like a little family, and it's so valuable. I just can't thank you enough for what you and your team have done, and the difference that you're making in so many people's lives. I'm just so thankful for you all.
Thank you. And again, likewise, Amy. Like I said at the beginning, your story literally it shocked me and amazed me at the same time, right? How obviously how what happened to you, how they missed what they missed for 6 months, and then where you are and where you've turned your life to where you are now, and what you're doing now is fantastic. So again, thank you.
Oh, thank you so much, Alan. I appreciate that a lot. If you are interested in, excuse me, learning more about what Alan does or supporting them, the website is www.thedisabilityexpo.com. And you can go on there and find information and help support that amazing, amazing opportunity that they're doing there. All right. Well, I think that's it for today. Again, Alan, thank you so much for being here. I
Thank
appreciate
you.
you taking the time.
Thanks very much. Thanks for inviting me.
Yeah, of course. And tomorrow we're back with another guest and another emotion. If you have found this helpful, please share it. If you think that it will help other people, please share it so they may find it too. So I will see you guys tomorrow. Thanks for watching. Bye.